When Mat Armstrong discovered a destroyed $6 million Bugatti Chiron being sold for barely $1.5 million, most people saw a financial nightmare waiting to happen. But where others saw twisted carbon fiber, missing parts, and impossible repair costs, Mat saw the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to prove that passion, skill, and determination could revive one of the world's most legendary hypercars. The internet exploded because this wasn't just another rebuild project. This was a machine so rare and technologically advanced that even experienced supercar specialists would hesitate to touch it. Every damaged panel, every missing component, and every hidden problem threatened to turn the dream into disaster. Yet Mat Armstrong stepped directly into the chaos, risking millions, his reputation, and months of relentless work to bring the broken Bugatti back to life. What shocked people most wasn't just the insane bargain price. It was a fearless decision to attempt something almost nobody else in the automotive world would dare try. The moment Mat Armstrong revealed the wrecked Bugatti Chiron to the world, the reaction was immediate. Some people called him a genius. Others called him completely insane. Because this was not just a damaged supercar, sitting in a garage waiting for repairs. This was a multi-million-dollar engineering masterpiece that had suffered catastrophic damage, severe enough to scare away wealthy collectors, insurance companies, and even professional rebuild experts. Most people believe the car was beyond saving. But Mat Armstrong has built his reputation on doing what others believe is impossible. The internet quickly became divided into two groups. One side believed the project would become the greatest automotive comeback story ever uploaded to YouTube. The other side believed it would become the most expensive mistake of Mat's entire career. And honestly, both sides had good reasons to think that way. A Bugatti is not like rebuilding an ordinary sports car. Every single component is insanely expensive. Even the smallest damaged part can cost more than an entire family car. Some parts are so rare that they cannot simply be ordered online. They must come directly from Bugatti itself, often with strict approval processes and astronomical costs attached. As more details about the damage emerged, the scale of the challenge became terrifying. The front end had suffered major structural destruction. The suspension system was damaged. Expensive aerodynamic components were missing or broken. Electronics were compromised. Cooling systems were destroyed. Carbon fiber sections showed severe impact stress. Even worse, nobody truly knew how much hidden damage existed underneath the surface. And that is what makes rebuilding a hypercar so dangerous financially. What you can see is often only a fraction of the real problem. But this is exactly where Mat Armstrong thrives. Unlike traditional dealerships or restoration shops that depend on guaranteed profits, Mat built his entire career around risk. His audience follows him because they know he does not run away from impossible situations. He walks directly toward them. That mindset transformed him from an ordinary car enthusiast into one of the most watched automotive creators on the internet. People don't simply watch his videos to see repaired cars. They watch to witness pressure, uncertainty, setbacks, and moments where failure feels inevitable. And with the Bugatti project, those moments arrived almost immediately. The deeper the team went into the rebuild, the more problems they uncovered. Components that looked reparable turned out to be destroyed internally. Mounting points were damaged. Wiring systems became a nightmare to diagnose. Specialized parts required research that took days or even weeks. In many situations, there were no tutorials, no online guides, and no previous rebuild examples available. That is because almost nobody attempts to rebuild crashed Bugattis privately. Most of these cars either return to the manufacturer or disappear forever after major accidents. That reality made the project feel historic. Every upload became an event online. Millions of viewers clicked instantly because they wanted answers to the same question. Could this actually work? Could a YouTuber from Britain truly rebuild one of the world's most complicated hypercars outside the official Bugatti system? The stakes became enormous. If Mat succeeded, he would prove something the automotive world rarely admits, that determination and creativity can sometimes compete with massive corporations and factory-backed systems. But the pressure also became personal. With every episode, expectations grew larger. Fans celebrated every small victory. Critics analyzed every mistake. Some experts doubted whether the car could ever drive properly again. Others questioned whether it would even be safe at high speed. And when you are dealing with a vehicle capable of extreme performance, safety becomes everything. One hidden issue at high speed could become catastrophic. That is why the rebuild demanded obsessive attention to detail. Every bolt mattered. Every sensor mattered. Every alignment measurement mattered. The team had to think beyond simply making the car look repaired. It had to function correctly. Aerodynamics had to work. Cooling had to work. Electronics had to communicate perfectly. Suspension geometry had to remain accurate. A Bugatti is not simply assembled like an ordinary car. It is engineered with microscopic precision because it was designed to perform at levels most vehicles can never reach. Then came one of the most emotional parts of the project, the search for parts. Viewers quickly realized that repairing the Bugatti would not just require skill. It would require patience, networking, and problem-solving on a completely different level. Some parts carried shocking price tags that stunned even experienced car enthusiasts. Certain components cost more than entire luxury vehicles. Others were nearly impossible to find anywhere in the world. Every successful part acquisition felt like another major victory in the story, and that is when people began understanding why the Bugatti was sold so cheap. Yes, $1.5 million sounds unbelievable to ordinary people, but in the world of hypercars, catastrophic damage changes everything instantly. A destroyed Bugatti can become a financial black hole capable of swallowing millions more in repair costs. Insurance companies know this. Collectors know this. Repair specialists know this. That is why so few people were willing to touch the car. The purchase price was only the beginning of the risk. But Mat Armstrong understood something equally important. He understood the power of belief, not blind belief, calculated belief. The kind of belief that comes from years of rebuilding impossible vehicles piece by piece. Long before the Bugatti, Mat had already proven himself through difficult projects others considered unrealistic. He built trust with his audience because he consistently attacked problems head-on instead of hiding from them. And that history gave fans confidence that somehow, against all odds, he might actually pull this off. Still, the emotional roller coaster continued. Some days brought huge breakthroughs. New parts arrived. Systems powered on successfully. Major components fitted perfectly. Hope returned. But other days became disasters. Unexpected failures appeared. Expensive mistakes happened. Delays slowed progress. Tension filled the workshop as the reality of the challenge hit harder than ever. Those emotional swings became part of what made the series addictive. Viewers weren't just watching a rebuild anymore. They were watching a battle between ambition and reality. Every episode carried suspense because nobody truly knew what would happen next, including Mat himself. That uncertainty gave the project a documentary-like intensity rarely seen in automotive content online. Then came another shocking realization. Rebuilding the Bugatti wasn't only testing Mat Armstrong's mechanical skills. It was testing his mental strength. Projects of this scale can consume people emotionally. The pressure to deliver results while millions watch online creates stress few people understand. Every setback becomes public. Every failure becomes content. Every expensive mistake becomes a headline. Yet despite everything, Mat kept moving forward. That persistence slowly changed public opinion. Critics who originally mocked the project began paying closer attention. Automotive enthusiasts started realizing how serious the rebuild truly was. Even people outside the car world became fascinated because the story represented something larger than automobiles. IT represented the obsession humans have with impossible goals. People love stories where someone dares to attempt what others fear. That is why the Bugatti rebuild spread across social media so aggressively. It was not just about a car. It was about risk, determination, resilience, and proving doubters wrong. And perhaps the most incredible part of the story was this. The deeper Mat went into the rebuild, the more impossible the project became. Yet the closer the dream also felt. Because once the major system slowly began returning to life, the unimaginable started becoming real. The destroyed hypercar that once looked destined for permanent destruction slowly began resembling a Bugatti again, piece by piece, bolt by bolt, panel by panel. That transformation stunned viewers. Seeing a shattered multi-million-dollar hypercar slowly resurrected inside an independent garage felt almost surreal. It challenged assumptions people had about luxury automotive brands and exclusive repair systems. Suddenly, Millions of viewers realized that extraordinary machines are still machines after all, complicated, expensive, terrifying machines, but machines capable of being rebuilt by people with enough dedication. And that realization made every new upload feel bigger than entertainment. IT became history in progress. The entire automotive world started watching more closely because nobody wanted to miss the ending. Would the rebuilt Bugatti actually drive properly? Would it perform correctly? Could it ever regain its former glory? Or would hidden problems eventually destroy the dream completely? Those questions kept the internet hooked, because deep down, everyone understood they were witnessing something extremely rare. A normal person taking on a challenge designed for billion-dollar manufacturers and elite factory engineers, and somehow surviving it. As the rebuild pushed deeper into its most difficult stages, the atmosphere around Mat Armstrong began to change completely. At first, people watched out of curiosity. Then they watched for entertainment. But now, millions were watching because they genuinely want to see history happen. The destroyed Bugatti Chiron had transformed from a wrecked machine into a symbol of persistence, and every update carried the feeling that something massive was unfolding in real time. What made the story even more powerful was a constant uncertainty hanging over the project. Unlike scripted television shows or polished documentaries, this rebuild had no guaranteed ending. There was no promise that the car would ever run again. No promise that the electronics would cooperate. No promise that the engine would survive. Every episode carried real financial risk, real stress, and real consequences, and the audience could feel it. That authenticity became one of the biggest reasons the Bugatti series exploded online. People are used to seeing perfection on social media, luxury cars, expensive lifestyles, and flawless success stories. But Mat Armstrong showed something different. He showed the chaos behind ambition, the sleepless nights, the frustration, the uncertainty, the moments where even experienced mechanics stare at the car in silence, trying to figure out the next move. Then came the terrifying reality of hypercar engineering. The deeper they worked on Bugatti, the more viewers realized just how advanced the car truly was. Every system inside the vehicle felt designed from another world. Wiring diagrams looked unbelievably complex. Cooling systems stretched across the chassis like a maze. Aerodynamic elements were engineered with surgical precision. Even simple-looking components carried insane levels of technology hidden underneath. This wasn't just a fast air. IT was one of the most sophisticated road machines humanity had ever built. And that is why the rebuild became so emotionally intense. Because every successful repair felt almost impossible. Every moment of progress carried enormous weight. When a system finally powered on correctly, the workshop erupted with excitement because everyone understood how difficult that achievement really was. But the victories never lasted long. For every breakthrough, another obstacle appeared waiting around the corner. That became the pattern of the entire project. The team would solve one catastrophic issue, only to discover two more underneath it. Missing parts delayed progress. Unexpected errors appeared during testing. Certain repairs demanded custom solutions because factory procedures simply weren't available at times. The Bugatti seemed almost determined to fight back. And perhaps that is what made viewers emotionally attached to the journey. The rebuild stopped feeling like a normal restoration project. It began feeling like a war of endurance between man and machine. The Bugatti represented complexity, cost, and overwhelming odds. Mat Armstrong represented stubborn determination, refusing to quit. The internet loves underdog stories, but this felt different because the scale was so absurd. Most people spend their lives dreaming about simply seeing a Bugatti in person. Mat Armstrong was rebuilding one from destruction inside a workshop, while millions watched every painful step unfold online. Then something unexpected happened. The project started inspiring people far beyond the automotive world. Viewers who knew nothing about hypercars became obsessed with the series because they connected with the deeper message underneath it. The rebuild became proof that impossible goals can sometimes be broken down into smaller steps. That massive problems can be solved piece by piece. That failure does not always mean the end. People saw themselves inside the project. Some saw career struggles. Others saw personal battles. Others saw dreams they were afraid to chase themselves. And watching someone continue moving forward despite endless setbacks became strangely motivating. Meanwhile, the pressure on Matt continued growing heavier. Because now the rebuild was no longer just a YouTube project. It had become part of his identity. If the Bugatti failed publicly, the internet would never forget it. Critics would call the entire project reckless from the beginning. Every mistake would be replayed endlessly online. The financial losses alone could have crushed most people mentally. But quitting would have been even worse, and so the team pushed forward again and again, attacking each new problem with relentless focus. Sometimes the fixes worked immediately. Other times they failed completely. Yet every failure also brought new information, and that information slowly pushed the rebuild closer toward life. Then came the moments viewers had been waiting for since the beginning. The Bugatti started looking complete again. The shattered shell that once appeared hopeless slowly transformed back into a hypercar worthy of its legendary name. Panels aligned correctly. Systems began communicating. The interior returned. The stance of the car changed. Suddenly, for brief moments, people could almost forget how destroyed it originally was. That visual transformation shocked the internet, because it forced everyone to confront the same unbelievable truth. This insane project might actually succeed, and once people started believing success was possible, excitement exploded to another level entirely. Every upload became trending discussion. Automotive forums analyzed every detail. Fans debated what the final value of the rebuilt Bugatti could become. Some believed the project would permanently damage Bugatti's image by proving independent rebuilders could challenge factory exclusivity. Others believed it would become one of the greatest marketing stories the brand had ever indirectly received. But through all the noise, Mat Armstrong stayed focused on one thing: making the car drive again. Not for views, not for headlines, but because finishing the impossible